I'm gonna beat you half to death with it, Dr. Surge.
But if you're swinging the walking stick, how are you going to stay upright, sir?
I will find a way.
Okay. Where there's a
I'm just
way.
one of them scooters though.
I'm just saying.
I'm
just
gonna
wait
for
for
run
out of this court case.
Daryl, not you too.
Yeah, I'd be scared because he'd probably put a little like cow guard on the front of his scooter. We'd just run everybody over.
Bullhorns.
All right.
Train
Ageist and Texasist jokes aside, because I'm not from Texas, thank you very much. I'm from North Carolina. Counselors, are we prepared to proceed?
The best I'll ever be.
Just wait a moment.
Wait a second.
Yeah, I'd say no on that one, Your Honor.
Yep. We
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Kermit.
Are you okay, Sir Head Pop? Are you okay if I be her co-counsel in case this happens again?
Get on up here, and yeah, you're fine.
All right. Thank you.
She seems to be having some troubles today.
Do you mind if I go ahead and take care of her?
No, as co-counsel, please show her the door.
All right.
It's fine.
Hey,
damn!
What the fuck?
Holy shit!
Oh,
Holy
that
shit!
was close. That was close.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That
was a solid
the timing on the timing on that was.
All right, counsel.
She's very close. In the second that he headbutt her, she materialized. He was just re-enlightening her. It was fine.
So
All right,
that's gonna happen more. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I understand it. You did the attorney mind melds that you both have the same level of information
knocked some
on the
sense
case.
into
All
her,
right,
Your
are
Honor.
we ready to prepare? Are we prepared to
Yes,
continue?
Your Honor.
Really, Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes, I'm prepared.
All right, very good. Then I'm going to call this court into order in the matter of Harth v. Svenson. I'd like to take this moment to remind everybody before the court today that this is a civil hearing and not a criminal trial. Because of that, we are not assessing any type of guilt or innocence for any kind of crimes today. We are merely assessing whether or not the plaintiff, who has alleged wrongdoing and damages are due to him, whether or not damages are in fact due to him from the defendant. Because of that, and because nobody's going to prison today, the burden of proof is less than what many of you are used to seeing, on your Law and Orders and your SVUs and everything. What we are looking for today is called a preponderance of evidence. That will be judged by myself with the help of the two justices to my left here, after all facts, evidence, and all testimony is heard. And now, instead of what you're normally used to hearing as beyond a reasonable doubt, the term we use when we're looking at a civil proceeding is based on a preponderance of evidence. So what that means today is that after we've heard and seen all evidence and testimony, if based on everything we've heard and seen, we believe that yes, damages are due to the plaintiff and that the defendant was the proximal cause of those damages, then damages will be awarded. So I just want to give everybody a quick lesson because we got a whole lot of new faces in here that I ain't never seen before.
Google
now,
lawyers.
Yeah, I know. Anyhow, the other item that I will make everybody know, and I'll make it known now so I don't have to repeat myself 100,000 times, although this is a civil proceeding and not a criminal proceeding, criminal proceedings can arise from a civil proceeding, most notably perjury. Perjury is still a thing in a civil proceeding. If you're up here on my witness stand and you are under oath and you are caught lying, you can and may, in fact, be charged for perjury by the district attorney who's standing over there. Does everybody understand what I have just told you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All
Yes,
right,
Your Honor.
very good. Very good. All right, then I'm going to call this into order. Mr. Shaw, I will hear the plaintiff's opening remarks at this time.
Absolutely. Your Honor, I want to go ahead and just thank you for taking the time out of your day for hearing this case on such short notice. That being said, we are here today to ensure that Owen Svenson, a peace officer who illegally searched my client's vehicle, is held accountable for his actions, and that my client is made whole on the basis of a violation of my client's Fourth Amendment rights. Thank you.
All right, very good. Ms. West, we will hear the
I feel
defense's
bad
opening
because
statement at this time.
this shouldn't have been such short notice.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the court, today we're here to discuss whether Officer Svenson violated Jacob Harth's Fourth Amendment right. Today, the opposing counsel have to prove with the preponderance of evidence, as Judge Artson eloquently stated before, opposing counsel have to prove that with preponderance of evidence that Officer Svenson not only violated Mr. Harth's constitutional rights, but did so out of incompetence or knowingly violated said rights. I will prove that Officer Svenson had every right to search that vehicle and did so for the safety of himself and his fellow officers. Thank you.
All right, very good. Mr. Shaw, the floor is yours. You may call your first witness or present your first piece of evidence.
I'd like to call Jacob Harth to the stand.
All right, Mr. Harth, please step forward.
All right, Mr. Harth. How you doing this evening, sir?
I'm gonna have to look at
Wonderful.
his medical report.
All righty, sir. Will you please raise your left hand for me, sir? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you psychotic?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, this witness has been sworn in.
Very good. Mr. Shaw, the floor is yours.
Sounds good. Mr. Harth, on April 24th, what happened to you by the City Bank on Vinewood Boulevard?
I was across the street.
And while you were across the street, what happened to you?
I was asked to move to the other side of the street if I want to continue filming for my job. I was told by an officer to do that. So I did exactly that. I moved across the street.
And upon crossing the street, what'd you do?
I realized that I didn't want to be closer to what was seen. So I moved away. I walked down the street, 1 block. I walked in the back of an alleyway. I noticed a ladder. I didn't see a sign or cameras. I figured I'd be fine. I used this area to get an aerial view and used my binoculars to get information for news, etc.
And upon going on top of this building,
What did you just
did anything happen to you?
I was shot 3 times.
When you were shot, or in the process of being shot, did you have anything in your hands?
I did. I was using my binoculars.
At any point in time, were you on the phone, Mr. Harth?
I was not.
At any point in time, were you on a radio?
I was not.
Do you have any reason to believe that you should have been shot for being on top of a building? That's gonna be speculation. Maybe not.
In no way should I have been shot. If anything, I should have been warned.
And Mr. Harth, on that day, were you charged with anything?
I believe I was. Trespassing. Among other things. I'm not exactly sure. It's been quite some time. And I haven't looked at my record. Although it is clean. Though I'm not sure if I can access those files.
Your Honor, at this point in time, I'd like to point out Exhibit B, Police/Incident Report number 6077.
All
Give me
right,
a
so
second,
entered.
Within this police report, towards the very bottom on the second page, it does state that the sentence given was 5 months and a $250 fine. In addition to that, I will read out a paragraph within this police report. It states, the suspect faced 1 charge of trespassing as he had no right to be on top of the building and was asked to leave the area. Owen Svenson went back to the scene to take photos of the trespassing signs visible in the area. Now, if you allow me just a second to grab the images from this police report. Give me a second, chat.
Go right ahead.
Here, and here. All right, Your Honor. Within the third image in that police report, the one furthest to the bottom, let me know when you do have that available.
And give me just 1 second, please.
Yep, not a problem. So for those of you guys who can't see this, let me see if I can get this up for you really quick. I don't know if I can do it in time. Right here. So this is a no trespassing sign, but the ladder is here, and this is a dead end.
All right. Yep, I've got it.
All right. Now within that image, as you can see, there is a no trespassing sign to the left side of Mr. Svenson. In saying that, you can identify Mr. Harth in the distance, correct?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. Mr. Harth, do you have this image readily available?
I'm looking at it now.
Okay. Can you identify within this picture which ladder you went up and where it's located?
The one closest to me. To my right. Just
Your
at
right.
the corner of the window.
Just for clarification, that would be Svenson's left on the building, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Mr. Harth, given that you were in the area, would any reasonable person see a no trespassing sign on what's essentially a dead end on the furthest side of the dead end, nowhere close to the ladder?
Oh dear.
No.
Now, upon being shot, Mr. Harth, what did you do?
I quickly dropped to the ground. As I had just been shot 3 times, I used a few bandages and crawled to the ladder. I went to go into my car, and I was stopped by the officers. I noticed one jumping over a fence. They pointed guns at me, and they ordered me out of my car. I was handcuffed quickly and pulled away from my vehicle. My vehicle was then searched, and I was booked.
Mr. Harth, who searched your vehicle? Just for clarification, Mr. Harth, is that Mr. Svenson that you're pointing at?
Correct.
Record will reflect that witness positively identified defendant, Officer Svenson.
It's noted, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Mr. Harth, can you show me where your vehicle was parked during this incident? Now, I believe it's the second image within that police report that would give a relatively clear view of the situation and setup of how the parking would work in that area. Would you be able to reference that second image and elaborate on where your vehicle was parked originally while you were up on the ladder?
Yes, I can. I'm looking at it now. I was in the parking lot.
Now, when you say you were in the parking lot, were you parked in a designated parking spot, such as one that Mr. Svenson is taking a picture from, or within the no parking loading zone in front of the garage?
I was in a parking spot and quickly jumped in my car after being shot. Everything happened so quickly.
All right, and Mr. Harth, what injuries did you suffer as a result of being shot 3 times by a police officer?
I was shot in the elbow, the ribs, and the thigh. I was unable to work for some time. I couldn't lift the camera. After several weeks out of work, I did have to go to therapy. It did take some time for me to get through it, but I'm learning to trust.
All right, Your Honor, if I could bring up Exhibit A, which is Jacob Harth's medical report.
All right, so entered.
Would you like me to read the entirety of the medical report, Your Honor?
Just go ahead and hit the pertinent parts there, please, Counselor.
Okay, sounds good. It states Mr. Harth came to see me for a checkup after being shot in the elbow and abdomen with a high-powered assault rifle 2 days before. It goes on to say the elbow seemed to have had a bone chipped and cracked from impact and seemed to be sore from irritation from the patient trying to use his camera equipment. Then goes on to say the injury to the abdomen seemed to be healing well. And long story short, again, just verifying here that he had been shot and suffered injuries as a result of that shooting. Mr. Harth, was there any reason for your vehicle to be searched?
I do not believe so at all.
Did you
I
give...
was simply leaving the area.
Oh, sorry.
I was just shot. I need to go to the hospital.
Did you give the officer consent to search your vehicle?
I did not.
Do you believe that the officer had probable cause to believe that there was evidence of a crime involving your vehicle? Or
Objection, speculative.
Mr. Shaw, do you wish to rebut?
I can reword it, Your Honor.
All right, reword.
Mr. Harth, was there any evidence of a crime within your vehicle?
No.
Did you give the officers any reason to believe that there was evidence of a crime within your vehicle?
No.
Was your vehicle impounded?
It was not. It was brought to Mission Row PD.
Do you know how it got there?
I do not. I was in the back of a police car, handcuffed and injured.
No further questions.
All right, very good. Ms. West?
No questions at this time, Your Honor.
Oh.
All right, very good. Mr. Harth, you may step down with the court's thanks.
Full of the thank you so much for the 3 months, by the way. I'm gonna pause alerts.
Ms.
so
Shaw,
they
you
don't
prepared to
interrupt.
call your next witness?
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Is there anything else you wish to present before the court at this time?
Nope. That'll be it for now.
All right. Does the plaintiff rest at this time?
The plaintiff rests, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. That's what I was looking for. Ms. West, you may call your first witness or present your first piece of evidence to the court at this time, ma'am.
Yes, I would like to have Officer Svenson take the stand.
All right, Officer
All right.
Svenson, please step forward, be sworn in.
Svenson.
I'm sorry.
No, Andrews, no, because this was all last minute. I wanted to throw him in as an expert witness, but I was
Mr.
going to
Svenson,
wait.
will you please raise your left hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you, Chris?
I do.
Your Honor, this witness has been sworn in.
All right, very good. Ms. West, floor is yours.
Gonna have to be typing.
All
So
right. How are you doing today, Deputy Svenson?
Doing fine.
All right. Can you tell me, to the best of your recollection, what happened on April 24th, 2019?
Yeah. I responded to a Citibank alarm
along with Lieutenant Ripley, Detective Winters, and Officer Barry. On scene, there was several hostage takers and several hostages. Lieutenant Ripley communicated that the hostage takers were on the phone with someone. Also in the area was a bluish-black sedan with tinted windows that was circling the area. We made note of. On the scene, there was also communication about someone on a rooftop. I was not involved in the shooting, but I did hear the radio communication. At the time, I was going to investigate the bluish-black sedan that was circling the area. We gave commands for it to stop. It did not. We fired upon it, and it fled the area, and were unable to locate it. While looking for that vehicle, we came to the back of the building adjacent to the bank. It would be across, I believe, Power Streets. And at the back of that building was a black sedan with tinted windows, which is where the plaintiff was detained.
To clarify, did the vehicle that had previously shot at officers and Jacob's Harth vehicle look similar?
They did look similar.
Did you search his vehicle?
I did.
Can you tell me why you searched his vehicle?
Standard procedure to clear a vehicle and the trunk, and upon investigation, clearing the trunk for any other persons, we saw a unusual number of hand-to-hand weapons.
Did anyone witness or report seeing Jacob Harth with a weapon?
I believe Lieutenant Ripley and Detective Winters both reported that.
Did you believe that Jacob Harth was connected to the bank robbery that was unfolding across the street?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for
Yes.
speculation. That was too quick.
In his professional opinion, I'm asking if, since he was the officer searching the area and involved in the bank robbery, if he believed that that car and the individual was connected to the same crime.
Goes to motive for the search. I'm going to overrule on this.
Okay, I'll ask that for
typing.
you again. Did you
The
believe that
questions.
Jacob Harth was connected to the bank robbery?
Yes.
Why did you believe that he was connected?
It was on the radio. He might have had a weapon, and he was on the rooftop adjacent. And there's also a similar vehicle in the area.
Okay. During the incident, did you believe that what you were doing was unconstitutional? As in searching the vehicle?
I believed it was constitutional.
And as of right now, reflecting back, since the incident happened over 2 months ago, has your opinion changed on that at all?
I still believe it was constitutional.
All right. Thank you. No further questions at this time.
Mr. Shaw, do you wish to cross-examine?
Absolutely.
All right.
Mr. Svenson, you stated that the vehicles looked similar. Would you be able to tell me the model of Mr. Harth's vehicle alongside the model of that other vehicle in question?
I don't recall.
You don't recall. You don't recall Mr. Harth's vehicle or the other vehicle in question?
I don't recall the specific model of either vehicle.
But they looked similar.
That's correct.
Okay. You don't recall. I just want clarification here. You don't recall Mr. Harth's vehicle.
I do not recall the specific model of his vehicle.
Could you describe Mr. Harth's vehicle?
Black, four-door, tinted windows sedan.
Okay, and can you describe this other vehicle in question?
Black, tinted windows, four-door sedan.
So it wasn't a bluish black sedan. It was just a black sedan this time.
I believe the primary color was black.
Interesting. All right. Did you test Mr. Harth for gunshot residue?
I did not perform that test.
Objection outside the scope.
That's true.
Do you wish to, Mr. Shaw?
Just a second, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead and take a minute.
Your Honor, they did specifically state that they believed he had a weapon on his person. I just want to make it clear that my client at no point in time shot a weapon during this time.
Your Honor, permission to rebut that rebut?
No. You both opened the door. Overruled.
All right.
Did he test positive for GSR?
I did not perform a GSR test on him. I believe that was Detective Winters.
Mr. Svenson, I'm just gonna remind you that you are under oath and that I was Mr. Harth's representative at the time. That we were down at Mission Row PD, and if I recall correctly, Winters specifically asked you to test him for GSR.
I don't recall
Objection,
doing that.
hearsay.
Okay.
Okay. So you're objecting. All right. Quick lesson. The objection you're looking for is that counsel is testifying.
I'm testifying, yeah.
And that is sustained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Svensson, at any point in time, was Mr. Harth tested for GSR?
I don't recall.
Svensson, typically, in a situation where police believe that an individual was involved in a crime, which you did state you firmly believe that Mr. Harth was involved in a bank robbery, is it typical to test the individual who has a firearm on their person for GSR?
I believe it would be.
Is there a reason as to why you didn't?
I don't recall. I can't state specifically if he was or wasn't.
You don't recall. Okay. Mr. Svensson, why was Mr. Harth shot at? To the best of your
I
knowledge.
did not
Objection,
fire. I did
speculation?
not give him authorization. It's not my call to make.
All right. There's an objection on the floor. Mr. Shaw?
Yes, Your Honor. Svensson admitted earlier that he was authorized to shoot one of the other vehicles, which tells me that he had some insight as to, the situation at hand. I'm just questioning whether or not he has knowledge behind why Mr. Harth was shot.
I need you to rephrase your question then. So that objection is sustained, but you may rephrase.
Just a second, Your Honor. Why was Jacob
take the
Harth
time you
shot
need.
at? Svensson, did you witness Mr. Harth get shot at?
No.
And just for clarification here, I do know this was asked before, but did you search Mr. Harth's vehicle?
I did.
Were you given consent to search the vehicle?
No.
Did you impound the vehicle?
No.
What probable cause did you have to search Mr. Harth's vehicle?
First, I was clearing the vehicle. I believe he was a suspect in the bank robbery as well at the time.
And upon searching his vehicle, what did you find?
An assortment of hand-to-hand weapons.
At any point in time during the situation with Mr. Harth, did he become violent at all?
I don't recall.
Were you the officer who placed him in cuffs?
I specifically don't recall who cuffed him.
Okay. Now, really quick, does excessive force by the police department used against an individual give you probable cause to search that individual's property?
Objection, scope.
Well, Your Honor, my client was shot at. through means of
But
excessive
nothing
force.
in my line of questioning brought up excessive force.
We're going on the basis that my client was shot, which was stated by Mr. Svenson.
All right. Once again, the objection you're looking for is argumentative, and that is sustained.
Damn it.
You may, however, rephrase that question if you so desire, Mr. Shaw.
Well, I just want to quickly refer to Exhibit B on the second page. It states something I repeated earlier, actually. And I quote: "The suspect faced one charge of trespassing as he had no right to be on the building and was asked to leave the area." Would you agree with that, Mr. Svenson?
What part?
That statement. The suspect faced one charge of trespassing as he had no right to be on the building and was asked to leave the area.
Yes, the suspect faced one charge of trespassing. That's correct.
And the second part of that statement, as he had no right to be on the building and was asked to leave the area.
He was asked to leave the area, yes.
Okay. When was Jacob Harth asked to leave the area?
Officer Barry told him to leave the area. Unclear on what the specific verbatim was.
Okay. Now, through discussions with other officers, do you happen to know the instructions that Mr. Harth was given in regards to leaving the area?
I just said I didn't.
You didn't. Again, Mr. Svenson, I do just want to remind you that you are under oath, and if you truly did forget, then that is perfectly fine. But if you're saying you forgot, to avoid answering the question, that is in fact perjury.
It was 2 months ago. I deal with dozens of arrests per day, counselor. I don't recall.
Gonna need a second, Your Honor. Let's find this.
Of course, take the time.
Pull this up.
Councilors, do please both remember that if you need to motion for a recess or ask for an approach during a questioning, that is entirely acceptable.
I just need a minute, Your Honor. I do apologize. I'm trying to think.
Well, that's quite fine. I just want to make you cognizant of your options.
Trying to think of how I want to word this chat. Shit. Just a second. Just going over the police report really quick. I do apologize again.
That's quite all right, Counselor. But like I said, if you find yourself in need of 5 minutes to reorganize and come at your line of questioning from a different direction, all you got to do is motion for a recess.
No, Your Honor, I'm okay. Ow. I'm good. Mr. Svenson, where is the building that Jacob Harth was shot on located in relation to the bank?
It's on Power Street and Vinewood Boulevard.
In relation to the bank. Is it across the street?
It's next to the bank.
Is it across the street?
Yes, it's across the street.
Okay. Now, just to kind of jog your memory, because again, I was the representative for Mr. Harth at the time. Do you not recall anything in regards to my client being told to go across the street, as my client has previously stated?
I did not issue him the order, and I do not recall what Officer Barry said to him.
Your Honor, I am gonna request the 5 minutes. I am actually gonna request a 5-minute recess.
Granted. Court is in recess for 5 minutes.
Oh!
It was a long time ago, but
Mr. Archer needs to jump.
Mr. Harth, I am just gonna need a minute or two to sort something out. Oh, did you want me to go in there, Mr. Harth? I know this sounds a little strange. I can't really tell.
I don't.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I'm just gonna take this time to get things sorted. I need to look at my questioning for Harth. I questioned.
Is the bathroom like still?
There's people in there. Don't put me in there. Sure, I want you as my lawyer. I'm pressing charges.
I'm in here.
Why did they let?
Okay.
Why did they let such an idiot like you come and be a DA? I don't know.
Actually, no, it was my Harth questioning. Right here. Walked to my car, got into my car, and turned it on. Parked illegally. I'm trying to think, outside of the courthouse, did we discuss across the street? I know he knows, chat. How much of a dick do I want to be is the question. Fuck it. We're gonna be a dick.
Basically, if you call him back, just go like,
yeah,
Mr.
West?
Shaw, can we help you?
Yes.
I need to have a conversation with you. Could you come over here? Alright, so I think I am gonna have to request a sidebar, because believe it or not, Svenson had no problems memorizing any of what I just asked outside of the courtroom prior to this. However, that would make me a witness. And quite frankly, I think it's important that I bring it up to the judge that Mr. Svenson is perjuring himself on the basis that he's claiming to forget, despite the fact that half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, give or take, he actually admitted to the situation at hand. And again,
what situation was that?
Him being asked to cross the street, in terms of that being the instructions that he was given.
What did you just do?
I didn't ask him anything in relation to that because I was unaware that it wasn't in the police report, and he didn't tell me any of that. So
yeah, if Gary Berry was here, he was the one who did state that, but he was well aware. Is he
listed in the report?
I'm not. I don't believe he is actually.
No, he's not. It's not a police report, so they didn't list all the officers.
Yeah, he was listed as a witness in the case. Which kind of shafts us. Sorta.
Yeah.
I mean, alright, I do think this is something that I need to bring up to a judge. Because, again, if he truly didn't remember, that's one thing. But if he does remember, and he's stating that he doesn't, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I told him several times, if you don't remember something, it's okay to say that you don't recall. I don't want you saying anything that you're not 100% sure of. Actually, do you want to... Okay, let's see if we can...
Svenson?
Oh my god, there's so many people here.
Yeah, what's up?
How is it that we had a conversation
go over this again?
Outside in regards to the crossing of the street, and you remembered it then, but now that you're on the stand, you don't?
Listen, I can't answer that question while we're in court. I can tell you afterwards.
Okay.
You're asking the wrong question.
I'll bring it up with the judge.
Cross.
All right, Mr. Shaw, are you prepared to continue?
Your Honor, I'd actually like to request a sidebar with the DA if possible, and yourself.
All right, you may approach.
Your Honor, as you saw me bring up the fact that Mr. Svenson is under oath and truly forgetting something is acceptable, but lying about forgetting something is perjury.
Actually, he had just explained it to me. If you want to finish this, and then Svenson can answer. Actually, it makes sense.
So prior to entering the courtroom, I had a conversation with Mr. Svenson. And it was some of the conversation specifically regarded the crossing of the street alongside the instructions given, and Mr. Svenson answered without any hesitation prior to. Now that he's taking the stand, it seems that he suddenly forgot everything.
All right.
Which leads me to believe that Mr. Svenson is in fact perjuring himself. But I do know that this is a he said, she said. That being said, the DA, I believe, can maybe clarify some of this based on reasoning she might have just received.
Right.
Yes,
Ms.
Svenson,
West?
did you hear any of that?
This is
Okay.
no,
Am
this
I-
is between the
He's
three of us.
he
No,
was
this is
basically
between the three of
saying
us.
that he doesn't know exactly what was said. I believe he's saying that he knows something was said, but the way it was phrased, he doesn't know exactly it. If you could just rephrase it for him.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time for this sidebar, Your Honor.
There you go.
No, that is fine. Please rephrase this question, and we'll continue. All right, I'm going to call this court back into order. Mr. Shaw, you may continue your line of questioning, sir.
Mr. Svenson, to the best of your knowledge, what were the instructions given to Mr. Harth?
By Officer Barry?
That is correct.
I believe he told him to go across the street.
Okay, and just for clarification, where was this building in relation to the bank?
I'm unclear of where the order was given. I wasn't present when he gave it.
Oh, no, that's okay. We're on to the next question. Mr. Svenson, where is the building that Mr. Harth was shot? In relation to the bank?
It's on Vinewood Boulevard and Power Street, I believe.
In relation to the... Is it across the street, is what I'm asking.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. West, do you wish to redirect at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Step forward. The floor is yours.
In the earlier line of questioning, there was speculation or a question about shots being fired. Did you receive any sort of call over dispatch about shots being fired in the vicinity of the bank?
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive any of those dispatch calls from where Jacob Harth was located at the time?
I don't recall specifically.
All right, no further questions.
All right. Very good.
Judge
Officer?
Arson,
Yes, sir.
could you repeat to me the last question that she asked? I didn't quite hear it.
Ms. West asked if there had been reports of shots being fired, to which the officer indicated that there had been. And then Ms. West asked if whether or not the reports indicated that they came from the direction of where Mr. Harth was at that time, and he is unable to indicate whether or not that is where they came from.
Thank you.
Did I paraphrase that correctly, officer?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I did
Anybody?
get the gist of it, Your Honor. Yes.
All right, very good. All right, officer, you may step down with the court's thanks. All right, Ms. West, the court will hear your next witness or your next piece of evidence.
No further witnesses, Your Honor. The defense rests.
All right. Are we prepared to give closing arguments at this time, counsels?
Your Honor,
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
could I just have a couple of minutes? I do have to sort some things around on the basis of some recent statements made.
How much time do you need, Mr. Shaw?
Just a couple minutes, Your Honor.
This court is in recess for 10 minutes.
10? Oh, shit. We'll be back at 10, I guess.
All right, Ms. West, the floor is yours.
Damage cost. So we filed for 50, but there's 2 Fourth Amendment right violations here. So it's probably going to be 25-ish, maybe.
Police report 6077 states that the officers responded to a bank robbery in which there were multiple hostages taken. During robbery negotiations, officers noticed a vehicle circling the block. Another officer, Scarlett Winters, noticed that there was a man nearby on a rooftop monitoring the scene. Directly before this, the robbers had made it apparently clear that they were communicating with someone who was outside of the bank, watching the situation unfold. Fearing that the situation would escalate and that the man on the roof was involved, Winters received the orders to shoot. Per the report, the individual was wounded but not downed. Moments later, the same vehicle that was circling earlier returned to the area and gunfire was exchanged between that vehicle and the officers. Ultimately, the vehicle left again, though. Svenson proceeded to search for the vehicle in the area, not knowing if it contained the same individual who was on the roof or not. For all he knew, he was part of that shootout that had just occurred. The vehicle was parked directly
I could have brought up the GSR test.
below where Winters had shot the man on the roof. Officers had every reason to believe that he was connected to the scene after hearing that the bank robbers were communicating with someone on the outside still. Winters and Svenson ordered the man to step out of his vehicle and noticed that he had injuries consistent with being shot. The man was then handcuffed and his person and vehicle were searched.
Hello? Okay, we're good.
I
Wes,
believe
you're not speaking.
My toast.
Oh. Okay, we'll give her time.
Give her 1 second. Her head popped.
God damn it!
Headbutting.
Oh, there she is.
Yep.
Oh, it's
okay. Get out of here.
mitosis.
Oh shit!
Holy shit! God
No,
damn!
take care of the mitosis twin. All right.
Okay. I'm sorry. Where did I leave off?
The man in question got out of the car and had injuries consistent with being shot.
Oh God. Okay, that was a while ago. Okay. From where I left off. Excuse me.
No,
the man
no
was
water,
handcuffed
please.
and his person and vehicle were searched. He had multiple weapons, including a handgun on his person, per the police report. To summarize, the search was not in violation of Mr. Harth's constitutional right, as police had every single reason to believe that he was connected with the bank robbery. Jacob Harth was also seen trespassing on a roof he had no business being on, per the giant no trespassing sign photographed in the police report. And which I will state for the record, a crime does suddenly not just become legal because you're unaware of said crime. Jacob was told to leave the area, and instead, he claimed a 6-story tall building. This is not a short building across the street from the city bank. Would a reasonable person have done this? Absolutely not. Harth was surveying police during an active situation in which several officers and multiple hostages were involved. Police knew that the robbers were communicating with someone on the outside, and they had recently been shot upon. The search conducted was not conducted unreasonably. Officer Svenson, when he searched that vehicle, did not do so out of incompetence, but rather for his safety, the safety of the other officers, and the safety of everyone involved in the situation, and to properly follow the procedures of the Blaine County Sheriff's Office. It is easy to say what someone should have done in hindsight. The circumstances here are simple. Officer Svenson can only go by what he knows in that moment. He is not a psychic, and he cannot look into the future to figure out if someone is involved in a situation like this, where every single moment counts, where several hostages' lives are at stake. Any reasonable officer would have done the exact same thing in this situation. Moreover, Mr. Shaw did not prove with a preponderance of evidence that Officer Svenson knowingly or incompetently violated any of Mr. Harth's constitutional rights, but instead focused on the mere charge of trespassing, which was not ever appealed despite having the opportunity to do so since the incident occurred nearly 2 months ago.
He just dabbed. What?
Mr. Shaw, do you wish to offer rebuttal at this time?
You know what? I think I do.
All right, step forward. You may offer a rebuttal argument. I remind you, your rebuttal must be kept within the scope of the defense's closing arguments.
Yes, Your Honor. So, I do want to clarify just a few things stated within that closing argument. For starters, it is not a giant sign. In fact, the trespassing sign in question is at a dead end, which means you would have to walk all the way to the very end of that area in order to see it. Do you know where that ladder was not? It wasn't at the dead end. In fact, it was at the entrance of the area in question. Furthermore, my client was in no way, shape, or form involved in any sort of bank robbery. In fact, Svenson himself couldn't determine the different vehicles in question within this alleged incident. You know, first the vehicle was blackish blue, and then upon questioning again, it was blue. Furthermore, if Svenson truly believed that my client was involved in that bank robbery, why is it that he suddenly has no memory if the GSR test was ever done? Why wouldn't he himself take it upon himself to do a GSR test himself to determine whether or not he was the one who shot? Now, I know DA West said that my focus here was on trespassing. It wasn't. The focus here is on the illegal search of my client's vehicle on the basis that, again, Svenson himself in no way, shape, or form showed any form of probable cause, aside from the fact that there is a situation at hand. There is a bank robbery. My client is a news reporter. He followed the instructions given by the police. He crossed the street exactly as instructed. And the only thing he received from that was 3 shots to his body. And then the illegal search of his vehicle. Svenson assumed. In fact, to this day, he said it on the stand, he believes my client was involved. If that was the case, why didn't he perform that GSR test? Why didn't he investigate further before going through my client's vehicle? Now, these are all questions that should be taken into account, but unfortunately, Svenson didn't. Thank you, Your Honor. I've never done a rebuttal chat, but that was, I liked it.
All right. The court has heard all arguments and will be taking into account all evidence. I have one request as I move into my deliberations. Mr. Harth.
Mr. Harth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harth, I do not, and I may be missing this, and if I am, counselor, please let me know. I do not see any type of photograph or anything else of your car specifically in any of the filings. I would request that you get your car and you bring it here. I want to look at it.
I can do that for you.
All right, very good. This court is in recess. I'm not going to begin my deliberations until after I've taken a look at that car. So this court is in recess until such time as I can take a look at it.
Shaw.
Kermit, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm a big fan.
Did I ever say that car was blue? Or did I say bluish black and then primary black?
You said bluish black and that was primary.
But did I ever say blue? Did I ever say the car was blue?
Went outside to look at the car.
Did I also
said that it was bluish black?
Shaw, you need to jump.
Kevin.
Damn it.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. That was a good picture.
Mr. Shaw, I'd like to speak to you.
Absolutely.
You're in so much trouble, you're totally gonna get in trouble. You're
Fucking Hirona.
Wow, Carter, really? How did you do
I fucking
I'll
love
do whatever the
I'd like
want,
to
woman.
address.
You gotta.
This is my murder dress.
What?
Not.
Let's go
That's
grab
fucked
that
up.
vehicle.
I need to talk with you about
Okay.
that. I've since removed my tent.
What?
Well, all he asked was that you bring the vehicle here. So that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to park it directly in front. Is it in this garage?
No, it isn't.
Where is
Garage
it?
A.
Okay.
Just up the road.
Don't judge me, please?
Jesus. Wow. Nice car.
Thank you.
Nice.
You can hop in, Mr. Harth.
Are we honestly driving there in this?
Snow?
Yeah.
Can we go in your vehicle so that you can be a witness to him not doing anything to his vehicle?
Sure.
Okay.
If
All right.
that's what you need, yeah.
Yep. All right, hop out. That's the only car I have in here, chat.
How you doing, Mr. Huff?
Hello. How are you?
That's the only vehicle I had in this garage. It's on the GPS. It's behind us. You said garage A, correct?
Correct. I love the color of your shirt.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
What would you call that? Salmon?
I'd call it salmon, yeah. Yeah.
Salmon. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a color for a wedding.
I'm not planning on getting married, are you?
No, not at all. Not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Mr. Harth, what we're gonna do is follow you to ensure that the vehicle is taken from here to there. So how's it? Yeah, it is.
It's good. It's good. It's pretty late though. Pretty late, but I'm good. I'll just we'll go back to the courthouse, right?
Yep, straight to the courthouse. Well, you know, this I think ended a lot better than if we had done the full court case without winners.
Yeah. That would seem like a bit of a difficult start.
Uh-huh.
I know you're bored, right?
Shh. Silence.
Now, I did request Snow bring us to the garage and follow us here.
Is that green? It looks to be a
shit brown. Say it. Say it.
Why'd you have to call it Dookie Brown?
It's dark out, so I'll go grab the SUV. I don't know any other kind of other brown color.
Say it.
Tree brown, maybe?
Yeah, could be. But are all trees brown? No.
No, but the brown ones are.
No, I was promised ice cream.
Grandpa,
What's going on?
I can probably get a fire truck.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Mom.
Shit, damn.
Are you okay?
Does anyone know where the hell Arts is?
Are you okay?
That was a hell of a time.
Sorry about that.
I can go get him.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Go see him.
Do you have my phone number? Okay, give me a call. Oh, never mind. The judge is here.
All right. Okay.
No, wrong vehicle, Artson. Over here, brown one.
Wrong vehicle. Wait, this one?
Yeah, this one.
Has it been painted a different color since the date in question?
Yes, Your Honor. Given the date in question was close to 2 months ago.
Hey,
Although, just for clarification, the vehicle Snow did escort us to the garage, and
thank you.
Mr. Harth followed from the garage straight here without going anywhere. This is how the vehicle is in its current state.
I understand, and I trust that it is the right, but the whole intent here was for me to kind of see the vehicle, and I was hoping that it hadn't been changed, and that was my hope, but it has been changed, and so therefore it's kind of utterly useless to me. So, all right. Well, that was a futile. That was a exercise in futility. Mr. Harth, I appreciate you indulging the court.
I have outside court again.
We're not having outside court right now.
Shaw, you weren't
All right.
there for that.
I'm going to begin my deliberations. Mr. Sir, you need to
Yeah.
jump with the neck chain and the
was
turtleneck.
fun.
There you go.
Missed it.
All right. I'm going to begin my deliberations. Court is in recess until such time. Bailiff will come and get you.
Hey.
I did not hear
Snow.
anything.
Snow, do you have my number?
I'm not sure actually. Let me see.
Judge LeBar!
If not, there you go. Give me a call. This is gonna,
my favorite
this is how I'm gonna start picking up my phone. I'm gonna leave though, so that you can call me.
Okay.
Don't say anything until it's completely over. I want your
It's
opinion.
gonna be cat.
The court was all, yeah, you couldn't really,
Call Kevin Shaw, turn it low, he will get you off. Call Kevin Shaw, every case he will win them all. Call Kevin Shaw, call Kevin Shaw, call Kevin Shaw, attorney at law.
Kevin Shaw speaking.
You know how fucking annoying that's gonna get every time I call you to get you down to Mission Row?
Oh, you wait until I
Every
have it
single time I have to
pre-recorded.
listen to
Press
that.
1 for public
Are you-
defense.
You are
Thank you for
fucking
calling the
kidding me.
law offices of
Really?
Kevin Shaw.
Okay, that's actually gonna be pretty. Okay. Nice, Kevin. That's a unique selling point right there.
Yep.
There you go. Bam.
All right.
No one else has got that.
Well,
Nice.
your response is all I needed. Thank you.
All right. That's pretty good. That was.
Oh.
You should.
Whoever
Uh-oh.
said that, we're not circling in there, okay?
Well,
if
no,
you
you're
don't
out here
like it, you can get the hell out of my courtroom. Thank you.
Artson, you need to jump. Oh, you're good now. Oh, okay. Well.
Whoa, careful. Don't hurt
Ah!
yourself, old man.
So, Chad, they had to go through a lot. They had to
He's probably gonna break it
determine
up again.
stuff. They also, if
Holy shit, they're back.
they're awarding him money, they had to figure out how much.
Well, this actually took a while because there's a lot of things that needed to be considered here. All right. So I do
The DA's right
apologize.
here, sir.
Oh no. Well, let go. Somebody.
I got her.
let them
She's
know.
coming. She's coming in right now.
Yeah.
My apologies.
So, no, you're fine. I do apologize for how long it took me, but
do not
yeah,
worry.
I'll as I explain the reasoning for this ruling, you'll start to understand why it took me so very long. All right. Do we have everybody back?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh.
All right. Can everybody hear me? Y'all in the back, can you hear me?
No.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Everyone cross
But
your
before
arms,
you continue,
Chad.
Your Honor, Reed, can you please take off that bag?
Oh,
And sir in the back
let
corner,
me
can you
have
please
my
remove
dignity.
that?
Everyone needs to cross their arms.
Thank you. Sorry, Your Honors.
All right.
I'm happy either way, so it doesn't
I just
bother
want
me.
on the record that the justices to my left were, because of their proximity to this case, they were unable to actually deliberate with me, and I was merely just kind of talking out loud at them. So this decision is mine and mine alone. Does everybody understand that?
Understood, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So when all of
The
you are
case
going
of
to
the
go ahead and
Peggles.
post about it on the face tubes and the damn Udits and whatever the hell else, you just go ahead and blame me for it. All right.
Your Honor, I actually blame Peggle.
All right, you can blame Peggle too. I'm fine with that.
Hey, that's contempt of court right there.
I blame Brittany Angel like everyone else.
Reed.
All right. Bringing
All right,
everything
Reed.
kind of
Yeah,
back
oh my
into
God.
where it
Oh,
needs
God,
to be. Order in the
Reed.
court. Order in my court. Thank you. The items at bar today are many, and they are difficult to disentangle. I am actually personally a little bit glad that we went ahead and separated these cases simply so that we could hear at least a part of it because Mr. Harth has waited for about 2 months now to have his day in court. And because I do believe that we have two incidents that, while intertwined with each other because of their proximity to a separate event, are in and of themselves separate incidents that needed to be considered separately. So I would like to thank the plaintiff at this time for removing their objection to the splitting of these two cases. And I do hope that that finds its way back to Mr. Ryan at some point, because I know he was actually pretty mad at me about not splitting them beforehand. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, it worked out and everybody's happy. So, When I look at this case, there are multiple things that need to be considered. First, what needs to be considered is when it comes to this search, was there probable cause for the search in question? There are multiple ways to get to that probable cause. Unfortunately, because the timeline of events is not very well built out for me here, some of the normal avenues, which would have been search incident to arrest, does not apply, because even inside of this police report, I cannot tell when Mr. Harth was actually officially arrested. And so because of that, I cannot ascertain if the search happened after the arrest, which would have been 100% legal, or before the arrest, which would have been an illegal search. There is no evidence before this court that Mr. Harth's car was parked in an area where it would have been subject to some type of towing or other violation. So, incident to impound is not available either. What that leaves me with then is whether or not Officer Svenson had reasonable suspicion that Mr. Harth was part and party to the criminal events that were going on in the area. Now, what I have to then ascertain is whether or not another reasonable officer would have gone ahead and done the exact same thing that Mr. Svenson did, and we'll get to why I have to ascertain that in a bit. The next thing I have to ascertain is whether or not the fact that that car was parked below the building where Mr. Harth was puts it within what is known as his sphere of influence at the time. And so, therefore, reasonable suspicion to search Mr. Harth could be, in essence, transferred over to that vehicle because he is able to interact with it, so to speak.
I agree with that.
I also have to consider Officer Svenson's considerations as to the vehicle somewhat matching a, I will say, very loose bolo for a car of similar make and color. When I put all of these things together, I do not believe, while I do believe that there might have been, on Officer Svenson's part, and Officer Svenson's part alone, reasonable suspicion of Mr. Harth's actions, I do not find that that vehicle was within what could be considered Mr. Harth's sphere of influence. Being on top of a 6-story building, there is absolutely no way Mr. Harth could have interacted with that vehicle in such a fashion that anything that he could have or would have been using to assist with the crimes that were going on across the street would have been inside of that trunk. This brings me to my next question.
Now, hold on, chat.
Is Officer Svenson covered by qualified immunity in these instances? The litmus test for being covered by qualified immunity is, as I had stated before, whether or not another reasonable officer with the same knowledge, and this is the most important part that y'all have to remember, the same knowledge that Officer Svenson had at that time would have made the same decision. When I consider Officer Svenson's compatriots inside of the various police departments inside of this city, I find that the level of information that Officer Svenson had at the time would have led pretty much every other officer I have met in my time here to make the same mistake. And so it was a mistake made in good faith. He's going to get
qualified immunity.
But now I have to go back and take a look, in the interest of justice, as to whether or not there's culpability for that mistake. And when I go back and take a look, although the blame for this instance does not fall on Officer Svenson's shoulders, and I want everybody to understand that, Officer Svenson is completely and utterly covered by his immunity in this situation. But the only reason he is covered by that immunity is because the communications amongst the officers on scene at that time, based on testimony I have heard today, are woefully inadequate for Officer Svenson to be armed with the level of information that he should have had to let him know his actions were not the actions that needed to be done at that point in time. Based on not only the police report entered into evidence, but testimony I've seen today, Mr. Harth was shot on top of a building before this car that matches the description of Mr. Harth's car was shot at on scene. And that is another item that needs to be considered. According to the police report written by Detective Winters and submitted into evidence for this case, the car in question had been shot at and had the tires blown out by the ARs of the police. There is absolutely no testimony today, nor is there anything inside of the police report that indicates that Mr. Harth's car had blown out tires or looked like it had recently been in a firefight. But Officer Svenson, according to testimony today, had no knowledge of that.
Wait.
That means,
Your Honor, that was the other vehicle.
Yeah, I understand that. But the testimony that was put before this court today, part of Officer Svenson's testimony as to why he looked in that car was that it matched the description of the bolo that he was given.
Ah, gotcha. Understood.
You see how I'm getting from point A to point B now?
Yep.
Updated information on what was happening in a tactical situation was not flowing freely between officers, based on what I am hearing in the courtroom today and what I am reading in this report. And it is that lack of communication that directly led to Officer Svenson's mistake. And though Officer Svenson is covered by his immunity, I do believe that the state owes Mr. Harth a recompense for the mistake that was caused. And so, because of that, I am finding
$37.
that the defendant is not culpable, but I am still going to award a sum of $20,000 to Mr. Harth in recompense for the violation of his rights.
Honestly, chat, I think that's
of this court
I think
today.
that is the perfect
I will remain here for any questions,
for all of
comments,
this.
or concerns. This court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.